We are live. We are live in the MJE studio of the Wildescast. I think we got, 6,000 plus miles, our special guest today. It's great to see you. What are all those noises in the back? Are those all the people joining?
Yeah, I think I'm blowing up. I posted that I'm going to be on Facebook, and like my mother, my 9 nieces and nephews, my
Beautiful.
aunt and uncle, they're all going to join.
Oh, this is fantastic.
So you're going to love it, man.
I'd hate to be the guy that steps in on the Wildescast and has the most viewers. I don't want to.
Imagine had you actually called me like 3 or 4 days ago, as opposed to like.
No, I didn't.
I really
yesterday.
I really would like to know who canceled at the last minute.
How about if I tell you I just didn't get a guest, and I was supposed to be booking this a week ago, and I knew I could call you last minute because that's the kind of guy you are. You actually like when I call you last minute because that shows, right, that you can step up and be there for me. If I gave you advance notice, it's not a big deal.
Right. Oddly enough, that is who I am as a person. Like, you give me, if like someone says, do you want to be the cantor in 6 months? I'll spend like 6 months preparing. I'll be like a complete nervous wreck versus like, hey man, like I need you to step up and just do it. All right, I got 2 days of being nervous. Now let's make it happen. You know, you gave me like what, 3 hours notice?
Yeah, but you're a champ. You're a rock star. I'm super excited for this taking over the Mark Wildescast, the MJE podcast. It's an amazing platform that we've been doing at MJE for about 2 months now, getting some awesome guests. We are continuing with the lineup of talented individuals today with my dear friend. You're more than a dear friend, right?
I mean, I used to love when you would introduce me at MJE. I mean, there doesn't get like, you know, between Mark introducing me and you introducing me, it's kind of a tough one, but
Mark's
you rocked
good.
it, man. Mark's very good. Mark, you know, Mark would always have me in the MJE dinner speech year by year. Mm-hmm. This is like too bad there's like 2 people listening to this because it's pretty damn funny. We should hold off. But right before he would say, Aharon, Aharon Chaviva.
So right before
wife,
Jill.
Right before Jill. It would be like, and my dear friend, Ozzy Cutter, for always being there for me. Okay, you don't remember maybe, but for the first, let's say, 10 years, between like year 4 and year like 12, I was in that speech.
At the very end, you were like...
At the very end, yeah, at the very end. Just like even nothing to do with like, he always put me in the speech.
And it was basically the staff. It was his family, his brother. It was God. And then it was you. And then Jill. Is that the order?
Yeah, I don't remember God. But he probably did. He probably started off with God at some point. But I think I remember that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
and I'll never forget the year he took me out. And he didn't give me advance notice. Nothing. Just all of a sudden, I'm not in the speech anymore. I'm like, dude. He's like, I should have told you. I'm really sorry. You're so important to me, but I just feel like other people I need to like thank, and you know, it was. I don't know if I ever got over that.
Did you ever get back in, or you were out?
Yeah, I mean, he honored me. He honored me again, so I got back in there. But I'm out. The reality is, I'm out because I deserve to be out. Found I was his number one. I wouldn't say like crony. I was like, I would literally practice his speeches with him on the 4th floor of the Jewish Center as he like didn't know if he was going to deliver a good speech or not. You know what I mean? And I would coach him. And then he's like, what should I do? Should I move to the 10th floor? I don't know if we could do this. You know what I mean? Maybe we should stay on the 4th floor. Oh, Mark, you're there? Oh, you missed it. He's still watching us. He's still so nervous that we're gonna
do something,
say something that's gonna like ruin the reputation of MJE. It's okay, Mark. You know.
After 20 years, I think we're both into our 20th year to MJE. You know, he should let go and let God, and let
trust
and
us.
Ezra.
Trust us.
Trust.
But before you leave, Mark, you give us a blessing, Rabbi.
Bracha. We'll take a bracha from the Rebbe.
I was saying, Rabbi Wiles, that you always put me in your speech at the MJE dinner, and then you stopped. But I said the reason is because thankfully I was always single for a long time, and then as soon as I was single, I left my post. As soon as you were single. As soon as I got married, excuse me. Oh, see, it's the problem. I'm still saying I got married. That was one of my. I gotta remember that it's we. We got married.
Yeah. The truth is, I think there's a great rabbi that says, or maybe not, you should always consider yourself single. Every day you come home to your wife should be like the first time you're seeing her. Maybe, right?
I think you are the spinmeister. We could figure out a way to make everything sound like Jewish and holy and thoughtful and insightful.
Well,
I'd say that's probably like one of your greatest strengths, Rabbi. You could find like holiness in a stone that you found on the ground. Or in a ripped sneaker. A ripped that sneaker. You've used for a really long time.
I can only imagine the footsteps and the journeys that person has gone.
Right. I can name that thing.
Exactly.
A cracked eggshell.
Yeah, that's the beginning of life. We can keep going, but that speed round.
Right. He's like, that's overrated, underrated.
That's right. But I think we're about 7 minutes in. This is super exciting. It's actually snowing here in New York.
Is it really like actually snowing or flurries?
Yeah. No, this is. Yeah. Before we begin, let's do it. Baruch atah
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
shehakol
niyeh
bidvaro. All right, let me.
See, he's really being cool. I'm actually drinking scotch. He's just pretending to pour it in for people to laugh. I wonder if Mike Adler. I thought Mike Adler was going to join.
This is delicious. It's literally the best.
What you got in that? What's your secret recipe?
It's
Okay, yeah, that's cool. What's in, by the way, these days? Is it bourbon? Is it scotch? Is it
This is a aged bullet bourbon, Kentucky straight bourbon. It's got 43% alcohol. It is 90 proof. It's 1 liter, and it's a real special moment when we're able to connect. Mamish, Achi, my brother, Ozzy, Alan Ozzy Cutter. This is just fantastic. I think we're gonna have to do this like every day. But L'chaim,
I think we should do this just because it's a chance for us to actually talk
and have the world listen.
Now, we'll say, I think it's a good way of sort of edging into this topic. But the thing that I think we got closer when I moved away to Israel, because I wouldn't say closer. I think we got to spend more time together. Because when I was single, we had lots of time. We had tons of time. It was amazing. But when I got married, I barely saw you for like years. You know what I mean? And then when I moved to Israel, we thought I'd never see you again. But I come back like once a month for like a week. And I think I saw you like at least twice a week. I'd come by, get some clothes from you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you give me half your wardrobe. You go out for dinner. You come to my office, I come to your place, you cook me some eggs.
I usually came to your office. You never came to my place. No, you didn't.
I always came to your place, but you would never let me come up to the apartment because if the baby was sleeping or something like that. That was lately.
That was lately. But you know, I do appreciate the time we had together in New York. I definitely miss that time, but it is special when you're able to come back and able to have some real immersive experiences. And so, look, I'm appreciative for it all, but I'd love to have you by my side, but I know you're going to tell me I need to make Aliyah to make that happen.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is it something that you think about?
Well, you're so good with you. This is supposed to be me interviewing you.
And you knew I'd turn this around at some point.
No, we're just going to go dive in with our special guest today. With our special guest today.
Is this
today on the Wildescast? On the Wildescast, episode 1742, we have all the way hailing from Modi'in, Israel, a dear friend, a board member, and someone who is a leader in the Jewish community. Alan Cutter is the CEO and founder of AC Lion. He is a natural-born networker. I'm pretty good at this, right?
Right.
His passion is creating connections between people in person and online. I have seen this. The guy is a master networker. He's literally making introductions, making sure that person A is connecting to person B. He does this literally day in and day out. He did it in New York. He's continuing in Israel, and this is his job. He's an entrepreneur at heart, and that's really the spirit of AC Lion. Always looking to prospect, always looking to grow and to develop talent. And that's what AC Lion's about. They've had tremendous success. I believe they just had their 5th year of being ranked at Forbes in the top 5.
4 years in a row.
Well, this will be the 5th year.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
You're going to do it, man. I have faith.
I hope.
Yeah. And they've had just explosive growth in the tech sector and digital media. And even during this challenging time, they've continued to thrive. It's an international company. They have offices not just here in New York, but also over in California, as well, of course, in Tel Aviv. I think also in Moscow.
UK, we're starting to build something out there. Yeah.
London. That's fantastic. Ozzy's done.
Hello, Rabbi.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. How are ya? How are ya? Oh my, this is like a dream come true.
I'm trying to be you in Israel. Look at this background. How this is real.
Oh my gosh, really? Seriously?
It is gorgeous here. I'm sorry for you guys in the cold weather, although Israel's probably nice.
I was 70 degrees and sunny today. It's just too bad they don't let you go more than 1 kilometer from your house, but
Right. What's going on, Rabbi?
What is it, like 90? Look, what I feel. I told Ezra, like, if I'm getting a call last minute, then who canceled? I just want to know who's the guy that canceled.
No one.
Listen, Rabbi Ezra has a very, very strict, questions and answers, and there's a whole.
Okay. We have to actually get to. We have to get to the content.
You got to get to stuff. I just have one question for you. First of all, thank you for your amazing posts from Israel. I'm sure Israel's told the whole world already about your incredible aliyah and Mazel Tov on your 13th wedding anniversary. That was beautiful.
Thank you. He hasn't done any of that stuff yet.
Yeah, it's a constant reminder that I missed your wedding, but that's another conversation.
I'll never forgive you for that.
Yeah, I know. So, what's with all the bicycling? Tell our listeners, tell Ezra and I, what is the deal with the bicycling? I mean, I'm enjoying the posts. So what's happening? Okay?
Right. I've gotten a little obsessive. I think it says a lot about me when I start something. I kind of go all in on it, and if it's something that like I really like and I see that I could do better at it, I just like keep on going. And it's something that, number one, when I was living in New York, I lived on the beach, so I was able to get up and take my surfboard and just go out, and that was like my outlet. Everyone needs an outlet away from their lives, as great as it is, work, family, whatever it is, and something that is only for you, and something that is not what other people say. It's how you compete against yourself, and that's number one. Number two is I love nature, and I was living in Israel for 2 years, and I never got to see the country. We never went on these family hikes, never had that opportunity, and I was missing the beach, and I started resenting like my wife for not letting me go surfing, or my kids. So someone said, you should get into mountain biking. We have mountains. Like when I walk out of if you ever into my place, you see the mountains right there in my apartment. So it's like literally I could go for hours and bike for hours and be seeing this country. So it's got it all, and it's my outlet. And in fact, through the pandemic, I think I'm actually like happy inside because of mountain biking.
Wow.
And other people are asking me to teach them how to bike, and I think everyone's looking for that social outlet, and not social outlet, but their own outlet. And there are a lot of people that could be living on the beach and never surf. Those people, they could be 2 minutes from the beach. I'm inspiring people to go out there and, do something that they thought they could never do. Because it's not like it's not like riding a bike in the street, Mark. It's mountains. Like you can fall and break a lot of things. And you're going over rocks and you're going up these really steep hills, and it's very, very challenging and potentially fearful and dangerous. So people have a lot of fears about that. And I think I'm helping people. So I found my new mission. I don't know. Something.
It's such, no, that's Ezra's smiling. It's such a great outlet. I can't even tell you. Years ago, I don't know if you remember, Jill and I got sponsored on that Cycle for Unity. We went to Italy with Ari Solomons, our good friend, who's living in Israel as well. Besides that, Jill broke her clavicle, took one for the team there, and we raised a couple of bucks for MJE. It really, there's something about biking, the exhilaration of just, driving through nature and seeing God's world, especially in Israel. So just keep posting from there. I'm finding it very inspiring, and I think it's a really important thing for everyone to find that special thing.
And I will say one piece of advice that someone gave me when I moved to Israel, but I didn't take him up on it, was go see the country, because you have to take your kids out of school and put them out there. And I kind of wasn't doing that. And I was like, people ask me, how's it going in Israel? I'm like, it's okay. It's kind of like just wherever I'm living. Now that I'm going mountain biking, I'm falling in love with the land. Beautiful. In the wintertime, it rains. And then, I found wild asparagus, and I just picked it off the tree and I started eating it. Hashem, Israel, right here.
That's awesome, man. All right, I'm going to jump off and give you guys back to each other. But Ezra, that's a great opportunity to plug our trip to Israel, which we just started plugging.
I was going to ask you, Rabbi, how could you plug a trip when you don't even know, are you offering guaranteed money back? I mean, you really think it's going to happen? What's the chance of it actually happening, would you say?
You tell us, what is it? Yeah, Ezra.
I was just going to say, Ozzy, you're an entrepreneur at heart, right? So you got to sometimes just jump, even though you don't know where you're going to land. And we have to go out there and we have to take a chance. And, we don't want to be, behind the 8 ball 3 months from now when we find out the country's open. Let's figure out a way to line people up, get people registered. If we have to refund money, we'll refund money. But let's get people excited. Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring. So
I'm 100% with you on that. 100%.
By the way, that attitude that you just heard from our good friend here is what's gotten us through this COVID period. That attitude of whatever it is we can do, we're going to do. And if we can't, we won't. But we got to do our Hashtadlut. We got to, put our best foot forward. So,
right.
So before you leave, one lesson I wanted to tell. It was on my list of things to talk about anyways, Mark, but I think it's very related to this Israel piece. Who's that? Hey, Jill, what's up?
Is this like a real? Hi.
Hello, you're live.
Hello.
On Facebook, all 3 of us, 4 of us.
Why are we live? Bye.
Continue, Ozzy. Go for it.
Okay. So Ezra asked me, what's my favorite surfing movie, and Point Break was one of them.
Oh, love
and
that.
in the movie, he talks about hesitation. Fear causes hesitation, and if you hesitate, you could lose it all, right? Is in surfing, if you turn back and you see the wave coming, if you don't paddle for that wave, you can't wait for the last minute for the wave to come, because then you won't be in front of the wave. So it's going to go underneath you. So a lot of times that wave just goes underneath you because I hesitate for a second. And then there's yet another time that you can hesitate. Let's say you actually catch the wave, like the wave and you feel the wave picking up. Then all of a sudden you see the bottom. You have to get up on the board, turn the board and go down. And it's scary. You got to get up and turn and go down. And if you don't commit to that wave, it's going to topple you over.
Sounds like marriage.
MJE is understanding that you can't hesitate. You just got to do it. And if you have to pivot later, you'll pivot later.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I know that we are all kindred souls. Me, you, and the good rabbi. We have a similar outlook and philosophy of life, and we try to make the most out of every beautiful second that we're given on this God-given miraculous earth. And I consider both of you dear friends. You're doers. You don't you analyze. You definitely think about things, but at the end of the day, you're men of action. You actually both think about things a tremendous amount. But it doesn't prevent you. It doesn't cripple you. My dad used to say analysis paralysis. But you analyze, but then you guys do. And, that's the great success of MJE is Baruch Hashem, we've had like 10 months of minyan every single week. We're continuing to do. Rabbi Wiles is teaching a massive amount, like probably 5 times the amount that he was teaching pre-pandemic. Mom was putting Torah out there every single day. And Razi, you with your company, it hit New York 11 months ago, but you pivoted and you adjusted. And, you're still continuing to find people work. You're still continuing to help people to grow businesses. And it's just a testament to just forging ahead and not, getting just weighted under by the fears, by the anxieties, and just forging forth. It's like Nachshon. It's this week's Parsha, right? You just got to jump into the water. Just jump in. So to the men of action, I toast you both. Rabbi Mark Wildes.
Well, we'll leave you to your beautiful family. If I didn't know better, I'd say that's a virtual background, but I cannot believe it's actually real. They see when they move the head, it kind of comes a little black, you know what I mean? All right, Mark, leave us to our alcohol, please.
Thank you. Great to see you, Rabbi. So, Ozzy.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. I think we're 25 minutes in, and I still haven't gotten to your full CV.
Nothing.
We have like 6 minutes.
And I worked so hard in preparing. Okay.
Listen, let's just finish this up here. You have an amazing professional career. Yeah, we're going to do part 2, part 3. Ozzy started AC Lion, I think right at the turn of, around 2000? Yeah, exactly.
1997.
Right. And he mamish built a company which has not just survived 2008 and now 2020, but has thrived. Ozzy doesn't just find people jobs. He's also involved in consulting for a bunch of startups. And he was involved in something called hotjobs.com. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about that before. ZipRecruiter and LinkedIn. Hotjob was huge in terms of networking people together to find them placements. But aside from all the business acumen and talent that Ozzy has, it's his soul and his neshama and his heart that are with the Jewish people, the land of Israel. And Ozzy has been involved on boards of different Jewish organizations for the past 2+ decades. He's helped us out tremendously at the Manhattan Jewish Experience, not just as a lay leader, but someone who is literally involved in the everyday operations of the success of MJE. So we have a tremendous hakaras hatov and appreciation, Ozzy, for where we're at today, because it was through no lack of your great effort and work over the past 2 decades of helping me and helping Rabbi Wildes and the community, just continuing to help us grow as an organization. So just thank you for our success is your success.
Baruch Hashem, and thank you for that incredible
it's not done.
Intro, baby. Okay.
It's not done. As long as we're talking about your being married for 13 years, let's talk about the fact that you were once single. And I know that you
I think my wife is actually on. She just texted me that my eyes are half closed. Do you think my eyes are half closed?
No, I just think it's the angle. I think
I do too. I know. Like, you know what? She's always, dude, Jessica, lighten up.
Listen.
He's texting you right now to lighten up.
No, I did get a picture of you.
Let me see that. Oh my gosh. Where was that? Was that an MG dinner? Oh my gosh.
You fell asleep.
Oh my gosh. That should be like a Bernie Sanders meme. Oh my gosh.
But what I did want to tell everybody is Ozzy was single. He was single in New York City before they had, what's her name? The famous woman. Jessica.
Young Rice?
No, whatever it is. But Ozzy understood what it was to be in your 20s and 30s and to be looking for love in Manhattan. It is not simple. It's great to be in a relationship. It's wonderful to be married when you're in the city, but looking for love in New York City is not easy. And Ozzy understood that people need a channel and an outlet to connect to one another, not just going to the bars and the parties at MJE. And he built, literally from ground zero, 2 very successful dating sites, which, thank God, have literally connected thousands of couples together. SawYouAtSinai. I think a lot of people here who are online today have profiles or are aware of the great work of SawYouAtSinai, as well as J Retro Match, which is an offshoot of SawYouAtSinai for a more, I would say, secular crowd?
Yeah, we actually now have over 20 different websites that are private labeled that use the SawYouAtSinai technology. That's sort of like the new thing. We've gone into the SaaS business. Do you know what SaaS is, Rabbi Cohen? Have you heard? No? SaaS.
Give me one of the words.
Software.
Yeah.
As a service.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
that is what you guys do.
It's like one of the biggest. No, it is a new thing that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
SawYouAtSinai is a brand, but do you know that? Have you ever heard of YouConnects?
Yeah,
that is a SawYouAtSinai technology. We're partners with them. So we partner with Chabad. There's like 10 Chabads that use us, right? So we give them the technology, but if somebody, let's say on YU, wants to date someone from YU, they have their database, but then they could connect to the broader database of SawYouAtSinai.
I mean, that just, I would say expresses the spirit that you have about always looking to expand and to be entrepreneurial. You can't just have one service. You got to provide a service that can be used as a platform for other applications. And so, no, I think that's great. I remember we were talking about that because it really was amazing what SawYouAtSinai provided for people in creating a profile, in allowing matchmakers to connect to singles. And, I guess YouConnects is a different vertical. And so I think SaaS is very smart on your part to sell that.
We're waiting for MJE, should have MJE date, right? Wherever it may be, whatever you want to call it, you can call it whatever you want. And imagine if somebody that was living in the city coming to MJE met somebody that was like in California, that was on another website. You guys connect the two, and now you guys get the credit for it. Now, what happens? They have a child, they have 2 children, 3 children, they're always going to remember you. Nice opportunity for them to write a nice check to MJE for remembering that they were there for them as a shadchan.
Well, we're not for profit. Money is important, but if we were doing it, it wouldn't be for the money. It would be just to connect.
I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know, man.
I know. No, because I know Mark's going to watch this. And
all right. He's all over this.
Imain Kemach Ein Torah, but I 100% agree. We should be doing this at MJE. I mentioned this to my colleagues, and I'm guilty of this, but it's not enough for a rabbi to get up and teach Torah. It's not enough for a rabbi to get up and lead davening. A rabbi has to be there for his community. And for our community in their 20s and 30s, we got to do a lot more in terms of helping people connect to one another, counseling them in their dating relationships, and ushering them to the chuppah. Like, we just have that responsibility, and I think we need to do that better at MJE.
But I think something I've learned in business is often, like, we want to do things that we think people need. You know what I mean? Like, we think people need to be inspired Jewishly, and if they are, they're going to just transform as people, and I'm going to get a nice big, seat in the world to come next to God. You know what I mean? But are we asking ourselves, what do our people need? What are their needs right now? And if we can listen to what their needs are, and we could help them solve those needs, and then whatever it is that we want to try to achieve with them will be achieved retroactively, or somehow it will be achieved. And I think that's something that's happening in business today. People talk about listening to your customers, and you could have 1 billion customers. Like Amazon might have 1 billion customers, but they categorize people based on female, gender, age, likes, whatever it may be, and they want to know, what does it Ozzy Cutter want from Amazon? We want to give it to you. Personalization.
Customization. I think it can be taken to marriage. It can be taken to being someone's rabbi, to being someone's significant other, to friendship, that you need to really be attentive to hear what the other wants. My wife is allergic to roses, so every time I bring her flowers before Shabbos, she's very upset with me. But I think it's a wonderful thing. But she doesn't need flowers. She just needs me. Exactly. She needs me to clean up around the house. She needs me to be on time and set the table. She doesn't need me to be handing her something which is going to make her sneeze. So, yeah, it's all about the personalization and customization. Yeah, Steve Jobs, man, you're the Jewish Jobs.
You're the one that looks like Jobs, but
I don't know. I look like an old soul at this point. I got the whites.
Kind of like you should be called the goat, because you got the goat look.
Yeah,
not Tom Brady.
Well, yeah.
You like how I weave myself into Tom Brady?
That's good. Well, we're gonna touch on a few questions today, because it is wonderful to have you here with your vast knowledge of what's going on in Israel, of the Jewish community, of dating, of Boston sports. So let's just kick it off. How did you feel about Sunday's game, which was called by the refs, that the Packers lost?
Well, I'm going to rewind that and ask this following question. How do I feel about Tom Brady playing for the Buccaneers, right? How did I first feel about it? How do I feel about it now? Am I rooting for Tom Brady? Do I want him to be successful, or do I want him to lose? If he loses, then it kind of feels good for the Pats. You know what I mean? We did the right thing.
Interesting.
Come on. This is not just Ozzy Cutter. This is like every Pats fan, or at least 50% of Pats fans.
Well, I was watching with Mike on Sunday, safely outside in 20 degrees, and Mike seemed pretty happy when Tom Brady won.
But you have to understand, if you take a poll, in the beginning, when he was, first of all, I think most people wanted him to stay. I feel safe to say, but some people might have said, the guy hasn't played well the past 2 years. He hasn't been successful, right? For a lot of reasons. So maybe there's a few people that wanted him gone, but most people wanted to stay. Once he was gone, you want to root for the Patriots. So I believe most fans barely watched Tom Brady play, and I bet Mike Aller did not watch. He was excited. Cam Newton, maybe, he was hoping that the Pats would do something. As soon as people saw that the Pats weren't going anywhere, they went all in on Tom Brady. But Pats, but that's my point is they were not rooting for Tom Brady from day one. They switched to Tom Brady. That's a big difference.
I get
See my point? Was anyone all in Tom Brady at that moment?
No, because Tom Brady didn't win the Super Bowls. The Patriots won the Super Bowls. So,
and are you a fan of the team, or are you a fan of the people that are playing on the team?
So what are you?
It's a big question. I honestly, this was the first year in my life that I actually had to think about it, because when great people have left the Red Sox, and lots of times, and I never thought about them again. I was always about the team.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing like a quarterback. You know what I mean? He's the leader. We always want to look up to leaders. And when Tom Brady left, it was like, it felt like we had, what am I rooting for? You know what I mean? I mean, a bunch of people that I don't really know. He was my man. He was Tom Brady.
So let me ask you today, January 26th, are you happy that Tom Brady's going back?
I'm happy. I'm very happy.
That's good.
I'm also angry. I'm angry at the Patriots. I think the Patriots, there's a big lesson in business. I've done a lot to hold on to my people over the years. And sometimes it means giving up a piece of my business, of my own personal pie, giving up my kavod, as they say, or respect as the CEO of the company. Who runs the staff meetings? I should run the staff meetings, right? Who should, get the credit for everything? I should get the credit. Someone else might make this, whatever it is that they do, but, Cutter gets the credit because I'm the CEO of the company, right? But that's not who I am. That's not what I try to do. So if I think that I need to hold on to somebody, I'm going to do what it takes. I'd rather make less money and have the team win overall, make somebody happy. And I think the Patriots had an opportunity to do that with Tom. I think he wanted to stay. I don't think he was being a pig about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they felt they could do better, and that bothers me.
So, yeah, but if anything, that should make you like the Patriots less and Tom Brady more, because it sounds like the Patriots kicked him out and he was really willing to stay. I hear he's left like hundreds and thousands of dollars on the table because he said, it's not that important that I make X plus X plus X. I want the team to have extra monies to make sure that they have talent around me and that they bring in other players. I'm looking out for the team. He's always come across to me as a very selfless guy.
Me
and
too.
I think that's part of his
I was going to
success.
say, I think his success is not what people say it is typically. Mm-hmm. People say he works hard, he's competitive, he knows how to win games, right? But I think it's a combination of humility and faith. On the one hand, whenever they win, who does he say that won the game? It's always he doesn't say the team. He says he names people. He always names people. Bob, Tommy, this guy, that guy, everybody. Never himself. When they lose, he always says, I could have played better. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Watch it. And they said about I hate to say about Aaron Rodgers, I like the guy. He played a great game, except for, when it came down to the wire. But they said, was that your call? And he said, it wasn't my call. He shouldn't. I don't think Tom Brady would have said it wasn't my call.
Ozzy, I think we have our new podcast, right? It's called The Spiritual Take of Sports, right?
Yes, I would love to talk about that.
I mean, awesome. It's such an important, like I myself grew up kind of, I wouldn't say I'm an athlete, but I was always outside playing something, tennis, basketball, baseball. And there's such, I think, important teachings and lessons from playing sports. Like my heroes were all like, the superstars in baseball and football. But I remember speaking to someone who is in HR, and they told me before they hire someone, they take them on the basketball court because they want to see, is this a guy who plays defense? Is this a guy who passes? Is this a guy who just takes the ball himself? Is he a hog? Because the way that you are on the basketball court, it's the way you're going to be in the office.
Well, the problem is, what if you don't play basketball? And what if you're good at another sport? Whoever that guy is no offense. I think the concept makes sense, but if you're not good at basketball, but I made some guy do like
push-ups,
100 push-ups
I know, I heard
on the interview. Yeah, exactly. But ask Mike, my partner, Mike, he only wants to hire people that have played competitive sports. They have to. Why is that? Why is that, Rabbi? Why do you think that is? Because three top reasons.
You're willing to put in the work. You're disciplined. You're a team player, and you probably have some sort of competitive edge. You want to win. There's a lot probably to it.
There's a lot. I'd say one more thing though, and I think this is that you're not afraid to fail, and you know how to take failure, and sweep yourself up. And I think Tom Brady has failed so many times, where he really was off his game, and and somehow he's able to come back. I think all professional athletes are like that.
I have to look this up on Google, but I was reading some article, this is years ago, about what makes a great quarterback. And they said they figured out a statistic based on what happens after the quarterback throws an interception. What's the next play? And if the next time down the field after an interception, the quarterback takes the team down and throws a touchdown pass, that shows the greatest success of a quarterback. How you're able to adapt and how you're able to experience failure, because everyone goes through it. So the question is, what's going to happen after you get sacked, after you fumble, or after you throw an interception? What's the next play? And the quarterbacks that are able to forget, like to have amnesia, that's a great quality. I have to find that article. It's amazing.
Well,
right?
If you saw the way, by the way, I would love to do a podcast about sports and Torah, but if you see what Tom Brady did, he threw 3 interceptions in the second half.
They weren't his fault.
No. You're right. By the way, you're right. Doesn't matter. What does that do to your self-esteem, right? It doesn't matter. You threw the interception, right? Everything was turned around because of that. He got out there and he made he wasn't running the ball. He took these huge risks on third down. he threw a lot of bullets. He threw some long passes to people, which on the Patriots he was not doing the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows that's another amazing lesson. Sometimes they say "Shona makom shona mazel."
Yes.
And I think that Tom is like, and you've heard this. I'm not the first person to say this. He's more of himself. The Aryans allowed him to be himself, to be loose.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And just sometimes just literally changing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's, not that we can keep talking sports. I got to say the Patriots are the masters of getting the most out of every single player. And like even a guy who was normally a C, they would use him so he would be an A. Like some of their linemen and tight ends and receivers weren't like superstars, but the system, right? So they fit in perfectly in the system. So like it was on purpose that like Brady wasn't the huge mega star overshadowing everybody, because then they wouldn't have won all those Super Bowls. But
exactly,
because Tampa's very talented.
Which is what they said about Tom Brady, why they didn't think he was going to win, is because he was, was only as good as his coach and all those systems put in place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think he's proven that wrong.
Yeah. I love seeing how there's all these articles now. How can you bring the Tom Brady vision and philosophy to your business? And one thing I just saw that they were saying how he's like one of the oldest quarterbacks, right, to ever go into the Super Bowl.
He's the oldest quarterback. Yeah, he's 43.
Yeah. So they said, and I was reading this article in Inc., and they quoted a Wall Street Journal where they said that every year Tom Brady lowers the seconds ratio between snap to throw ever since he's been in his early 30s, because he knows he doesn't want to get hit. In the olden days, he would 4 or 5 seconds. Patrick Mahomes can wait 7, 8 seconds scramble. But now they said there are times where Brady will get the ball out of his hand under 2 seconds. Like he's the king of the short pass, because he knows he has to protect himself. He's an older guy. He's not going to rebound as fast. So he's able to modify and adapt his game as he gets older. And I'm sure that that's something which, we ourselves think about as we enter into, our 40s.
One more, I think, great lesson that you just remind me of, okay? Because they were saying that Tom Brady is playing better now than he's played ever before. How is that possible in football, right? And it's such a physically challenging sport, right? Most professional athletes just don't play as well when they get older. So I think that a lot of it comes down to learning from your experiences. And he's wise. And I think you can't do that in another position. I think a quarterback, you can do that. You get the right, yourself, you be self-aware, and your weaknesses are. He knows he's not a great runner. He knows he needs a great, offensive rush. And he knows he's got to get rid of the ball quickly. He learned that.
And if you want to bring this back to your own success, is that I'm sure that when you speak to people that are looking for jobs, and a guy's 22 years old and he's like, I don't understand. Why can't I, try to get the vice president job at this, place called Google? And you're like, get a hold of yourself. You have to understand where you're at, what your talents are, what your experience is, and you have to pick your spot. That's obviously you want to stretch, but you don't want to shoot for something that's completely out of range, right? And I'm sure that you do that in terms of your own HR work, is a person getting a good evaluation of themselves, of who they are, what their skill set is, what their talents are. You have to know who you are if you want to know where you're going to go.
Gary Vaynerchuk is one of the people I follow. Have you ever heard of Gary V?
Yeah, he curses a lot.
But he's a nice Jewish boy, though, by the way. His parents emigrated from Russia.
Uh-huh.
And his father, they lived in a small studio apartment with their relatives. His father started a liquor store. The whole story. So one thing he says is, and he gives a lot of his time to people, a lot. That's a big cup. Oh my God, that's like the biggest coffee cup I've ever seen in my life.
It's
like
bourbon.
a triple size.
It's bourbon.
It's bourbon. I thought I was the only guy that slept, that drank at so early. Anyway, so he says, you can't be successful unless you're self-aware. You can work on this is a big famous sort of dilemma. Do you work on becoming better at what you're good at, or do you work at, strengthening your weaknesses?
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's a good question, right?
So I'm guessing he says, forget about the weaknesses and just focus on your strength. Yeah.
In business, you can do that because you can delegate what you're not good at, right? And then get better at what you're really good at and own what you're really good at. And it's something I struggle with. I think in Judaism, I'm not so sure Judaism holds by that. I think my Jewish philosophy, and I can ask you, but I think my Jewish philosophy is that you do focus on your strengths, right? And make them better because God gives you a mission. You have to spend your time filling out what that mission is. For me, I always knew that I connected with people since I was like, I think the first time ever that someone told me, I think I was somewhere in high school somewhere, and someone said, like, you're so good at like connecting to people, like you're much older in your years and your ability to connect with people, right? So I focused on that strength, you know what I mean? And so if it comes to math and accounting, like Mike makes fun, I can't even look at an Excel spreadsheet. It makes my head spin, you know what I mean? So like, but most people can't own up to it. They're afraid to own up to it, you know? I'm like, I suck at math. I'm terrible at math, you know? And I'm really good at understanding people. Some people don't appreciate that understanding people is actually a science. If we had more time, I'd talk to you about that.
Dale Carnegie.
It's a science. My original mentor, Dan Nascimento, you know, taught me that recruiting is a science, but understanding people is a science. When people interview with me and they say, I go, what are your strengths? They go, I'm really good with people. I question that.
I know. I can only imagine you.
Always question that. I always question that. Because everyone's like, oh, well, people always tell me their problems, you know. Because I asked them further, what does that mean? You're good with people.
So what does that mean?
Well, like, you know, I'm always the person that people come to for the problems. And I'm like, okay, just give me an example, right? And then they start like sort of stuttering, you know, a little bit because they can't think of an example. So it doesn't like really hit them that did they really help someone, or are they like just feeling like that they were sort of like doing something that made them feel good by listening to people. You know what I mean? If they were actually helping the person, they would remember what they said to the person and that changed their life. You know what I mean? I always listen to people. So you listen carefully to how people are talking. People are still patting themselves on the back, which if we have more time, we talk about interviewing. Do you talk about yourself, but then you sound like you're trying to like, it's all about you. And then people say, all he did was talk the whole time. I did this, he never used the word we. I mean, you could spin anything. If you want to see something negative about the way someone interviews, that's why with an interview, you always have to balance yourself, you know, kind of prepare in advance, you know what I mean? For everything. Mm-hmm. Massive amount of research, massive amount of like checking in with yourself. Am I talking too much? Am I saying am I asking the person questions? You know what I mean? We're going off topic, but I thought I'd throw that in because I think it's something that people could really learn about the interview process.
Yeah. I mean, how many people would you say you've interviewed? 1,000, 2,000, 3,000?
Yeah, about that. Probably, yeah.
And is there like, you know, anybody in particular that the minute they walked in within 60 seconds, you're like, they won the interview? Or usually it takes...
yeah. No. I find that, you know, if you ever try to look for a tie and, you know, you look for forever, and then when you find the tie that you like, you're just like, oh my God. A good recruiter will find that person. They just know right away. It's kind of like falling in love for the first time, you know, like, you know, you're just like, oh my God, like this guy has to come work for me. Uh-huh. And then the whole time you're just like, I'm done. Like, how do I get this guy to love us? You know? We had a guy, Nadav Gift.
I remember him from California.
And then his brother Lior worked for us. They were amazing.
Yeah.
These guys are incredible. Emotional intelligence.
Right.
You want to like, it's like when I met you, Rabbi. I think the second I met you, I fell in love with you. You're my soul brother. You're like my soulmate. You know what I mean? Like meeting somebody to work for you is a little bit like a rush, you know, like it's got to be a match, you know, like we connect. Now you want to have that beer test. Is this someone I want to get a beer with?
Oh, not the beard test, a beer test.
No, not the beer test. I fail at the beer test. Beard.
And
But
beard.
ask yourself, do I want to get a beer with this guy or this girl?
Once again, I actually tried to do some research for, we could probably talk for hours, you and I. But I was just kind of looking up what are some of the qualities of Tom Brady in the business world. And one of the things they said was he brought along this guy named Gronk. And he said, when you create a culture where people like each other, you'll have literally like 2 times the amount of productivity in an office. When people look to their right and their left and they see like-minded people that they consider their friends, they'll be so much more efficient and productive. And so, what you're saying just makes such sense. It's like get people that you like on board on your team, and it'll just make the company, so much more successful.
Which brings up another crazy topic, because it's with COVID, is, what made it AC Lion, I think, and what makes a lot of companies successful is the culture that they've built. And when you have a relatively small company, 30 people like ours, the number one reason that people stayed was the people. We were like a family. And you can't have that when everyone's working from home. It's really hard to recreate that. And I give credit for anyone who's done that. I'd love to hear it, because most people have failed. It's a lot easier to quit your job when you're physically sitting in your office and someone says to you, look, you'd still stay in your office, do the same thing, I'll just pay another $20,000. Okay, there's nothing to keep you there. You don't see your manager, you don't see your friends, you don't hang out at the coffee machine, you don't go out to lunch with them. I mean, literally, like, our working for AC Lion for a lot of companies it's like being on an MJ spring retreat every day.
I got to tell you, Mark always brings up to me, he goes, I don't understand. Why can't we get a bell in the office? I go, what are you talking about? He goes, I spoke to Ozzy, and every time they make a close on finding someone a job, they ring a bell. And he said the energy in your office was just like excitement. And people were like patting each other on the back, and one for, all for one for all. And we're going away on a retreat together every single year. And the success of the company is my success. And it was really an amazing culture. And you moved into those new offices, I know, where you didn't have the barriers up. And I just always felt like people, there was an amazing sense of cohesion, that everybody just got along. And you had the glass, right? Partitions. It was a beautiful place, but aesthetically.
You're making me cry.
But it was the people. I know you used to go out for drinks with like your colleagues. And I love my colleagues at MJE, but after a long day, I want to come home to my family.
No, that's the thing. People really loved working with the people, and we love hanging out with each other afterwards. In fact, I think people's closest friends to this day, anyone who's left the company, they're still in touch with everybody. I think their closest friends are the ex AC Lion people. It's pretty amazing. One of these days, I think I should have a reunion of all of us. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the last time you were back in New York, you did some sort of, was that for your birthday, the karaoke, or what?
No, that was our holiday party.
The holiday party.
It was incredible. I invite you every year.
I know, but Rabbi Wild says I can't go.
It's phenomenal. One guy we had to, he couldn't make it back. We had karaoke was right across the street from AC Lion. There was a new place that opened up on 35th Street. Unbelievable place. Gorgeous. And we rented out the whole, huge room.
Right.
And we do drink a little bit. So one guy couldn't make it back. So I walked him back to the office. I put him on the couch. And I slept that night in the office with him. And he
was that with my mattress?
Yeah, like, we just tell the world that Ezra gave me a blow-up mattress and I slept in the office. No one from my office is listening to this. But thank you for that mattress. I got it back to you.
And so what you're saying is it was such a fun night that he came back and slept in the office?
Yeah, I mean, and then he banged his head. He doesn't remember how, but to this day we still talk about it. It was incredible.
I gotta say, MJ, we've never done any of those company parties.
You should consider doing it. That's Mark.
When and where?
Wait, hold on. Who's the guy in the middle? I can't barely see it.
Hold on. There it is.
I can't see that guy in the middle.
It's me.
He's the guy with the beard. That's you? Let me see. Oh my gosh, there you are. Wow, you look so cool and young. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Do you know when that's from?
Am I wearing something around me? There's a brick? APAC? Where is that?
No, close. But by the way, Mark looks like he's like 15 years old.
You look like you're 10. Oh, was that Poland?
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's I want to say it was 15 years ago. It was an amazing trip that we took, and that's, once again, that says a lot about who you are, right? So, to take off from work to go on vacation, some people are going off to the islands, they're going to party in Vegas, but I remember, all those people who went, we joined together with 100+ people who said they're going to use their vacation time to connect to their Jewish heritage. And once again, me, you, and Mark, we went. It was 2006 with David Borowicz, Moshe Bellows. We had such a fun time. It's not ironic to say that it's fun in Eastern Europe. Yeah,
you're right.
First of all, it was a memorable trip with JB.
But what was really amazing is that I think shows the big picture. Like you and I, we're always thinking 3 steps ahead. Instead of okay, we're going on a trip. We're going to enjoy every moment of it. And we're going to come home. I think within the first day or two, we're already thinking about, can we extend? You know what I mean? Remember that? And we already started getting people, to extend. And everyone's like, I don't know. I'll see him and all. You and I were we're definitely staying for sure. We didn't think twice about it. And that was the extension trip. Was incredible.
I think we
met. That's where we met.
Yes.
That was the extension trip.
That's it.
Found the only kosher restaurant in Prague.
Yeah, that's right. And we suddenly became hockey players overnight. It was really amazing.
A lot of kids were born from that one. Not those people.
Right, not from us, just so everyone's very clear.
Oh, right.
There's other people we met who actually were traveling at that time, searching for their Yiddishkeit, and they met Ozzy and I at a kosher restaurant. And it was one of those moments that you say a person's life can change, literally, in just a few minutes. And I remember do you remember how we met them? Exactly how and why? This is the most important thing, because sometimes mitoch shelo lishma bal lishma. Okay, so listen, I was just going to tell you the hour is about to end.
No, this is a good story, though.
No, they were very attractive, tall people who had did not look Jewish. And I know that you and I were talking about, who are these people?
Right.
The guy's 6'2", she's 5'10". They didn't look like your typical kind of, if there is a look.
Right.
And I just remember we were saying to each other, we were also in that mode when you travel, which I know that you tap into, the idea of moving, of going out and seeing the world and meeting new people, being a networker. That's such a part of who you are. And I know that I love about you. And we're not going to sit in a restaurant and not introduce ourselves to the people next to us. Exactly. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, or across the restaurant from us, but yeah.
I remember we got little bags.
They were not next to us. They were as far away as possible, and we had a train to catch. We weren't exactly we were in a rush. But by the way, had to beat them.
I was going to say, when I sometimes think about your super talents, catching a train in an amazingly short amount of time is one of your great talents. I remember, we'd be, 3 blocks from Penn Station, and the train would be at 6:37, and we'd still be talking at 6:35, and you'd be like, "Don't worry, we can hang out for another minute because I'm going to go in the backside of Penn Station and catch the train."
How many of my employees have actually needed to speak to me, and I'm like, "If you don't mind running to the train with me," and they'd run me down the stairs, through the people, knocking people off, all the way to the door. We still got another 30 seconds. All right, make that call.
You literally make the most out of every single moment in life, man. We did not get to any of the questions today. I guess we can take over the podcast next month if I don't know, we had more than 3 people watching. Who knows?
Can I just say who did join? Did anyone actually besides for Jessica?
It looks like my 2 staff, not my 2 staff, our staff. It's the team.
My mother didn't even come.
No, this is sad.
Too bad.
Listen,
my mother-in-law should have at least showed up for 5 seconds. My sister-in-law, what's up with that? Nobody loves me, man.
I'll run the metrics. Maybe they didn't know because we didn't. Maybe what we'll do is.
But see, you wasted it because now I'll never be able to do it again.
Why?
But can I tell you what you did for me? Can I just tell you what you did for me? Because now that we're not in a rush, I'm being serious. Hakar Shikov here. I have been thinking about starting a podcast about jobs, about I don't think there's anyone, at least in Israel, and you can make a name for yourself in Israel. And it's not about making a name. It's about, again, it's about giving back. And, I want to be the HR guy, and being religious, like Hillelfold, he's a religious guy, but about helping people get jobs and kind of doing I have a lot of ideas, but I'm nervous. I don't have faith in myself. I don't feel like I can do it.
Just started, dude. I just read that Apple might start charging a subscription for their podcast because it's such a popular way to reach people. And I'm telling you,
are you on the Apple? Are you on an Apple? I wouldn't know how to start a podcast. I get a fake microphone.
No. This is not a real microphone. But the guy who helped us out today, Scott Jones. He's a podcaster, and he's been helping out MJE. And you got to, make sure that you're in the right light, have the good sound equipment, but you got to get guests, and you need to prepare. I'm sure people love hearing our stories, but we just got to, make sure that we're moving things along and people are able to get some real good nuggets of insight. But, podcast is a great way to reach people. And that's why Rabbi Wiles got into it, getting these guests on. And I support you. And if you need any help during the free time that I have, I'd love to, assist in any way. But Scott is a great guy who's helped us out in MJE, and I can put you in touch with him.
How come I can't see anyone that's on? Can you? Can you see the people who are on?
That's done on purpose, so I
don't get distracted.
Yeah, exactly. No, because this is on a platform called StreamYard.
Okay.
It's a StreamYard platform, which is broadcast to Facebook. So you and I are just connecting over this platform called StreamYard. But if you put on your phone, you could see that there's actually one person still watching us.
Who's that?
I think it's me.
Okay, good. Let me feel much better about that.
Let me look. I'll just tell you real quick.
I could have made like $30,000 in the past hour.
No, there's 7 people.
Really? Oh, that's 7 people. Wow. I feel bad that
Tom
we're not
Weiss.
like
we got to give a shout out.
Tom, I love Tom. Thank you, Tom, for supporting. I'm sure my mother-in-law came at some point.
But Ozzy, we got to do this again. We didn't hit any of the questions about dating, about jobs.
I know, and I prepared all these things I don't like about Jessica, and I even got her permission to tell.
What?
I could say things.
I asked you who your hero was, advice for people getting information about moving to Israel.
Yeah.
Because Ozzy made Aliyah, I think it's now 4 years ago, just about 3.5 years ago.
Dude, it hasn't been 3 years yet.
Wow.
3 years in August.
And I know that you're really into health. We were going to talk about smoothies. We could do a whole episode on smoothies.
Yeah.
About the advantages of Israel to America. About Zoom interviewing. We could do a whole overrated, underrated. There's so many things that we could talk about, and this is exciting because we over prepared. How often does that happen?
I know we're
the king of we're the king of spontaneity. Usually we're just winging it, but this was nice just to catch up a little bit, right?
This was really nice for me. It's like me coming to America. Like I miss giving you a hug, man. This
is fake. We could do a virtual hug.
Got my Fitbit on. See?
Yeah. So where are you now? Just to update everybody real quick, just to tell people where you're. So you're living in Modi'in, 13 years.
I'm in my dungeon. 13 years of marriage.
With Jessica.
Jessica, that's right. 4 kids.
4 kids.
Under
What
the
are your
age of
names?
11.
What are the names of your kids?
Kobe is 11.
Right.
Avra is 9.
Mm-hmm.
Elon is 6, and
Mm-hmm.
Revital is 4.
Wow. So they're all in school during the pandemic, or you guys are
No,
sheltering?
everyone's at home except for one of them. Israel has given certain permissions for certain kids to go to school for whatever reason.
But otherwise, everyone's at
home. We're on lockdown. We cannot go more than 1 kilometer from our house.
Oh, wow.
Technically, unless it's like a Havamina, unless you're exercising, or you're doing something that is important.
Wait, you're allowed to go biking?
Yes, I could go 55 kilometers as long as I don't put my bike on my car.
Really?
Yeah, is that amazing?
You know what's interesting is
There's
America,
checkpoints all over Israel. Checkpoints, they're checking you. They stop you and they go, and the people are like, I'm going to visit going to visit my mother. Okay, fine.
You still can't say that in Hebrew?
My Hebrew, I was going to put that in my Hebrew is terrible.
Ani holech lalechet lakelev.
Ani holech to visit my mama. My mommy.
So
your mama.
But that's so interesting. So in Israel, you're not allowed to get in your car, but yet you can go 55 kilometers on a bike.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
So you can't be in your car, which has windows up, and you're not sharing any of your germs, but yet you can be out on a bike. Do you wear a mask when you're biking?
You could bring 5 people in the car who you don't know, as long as everyone's going supermarket shopping and get each other sick, and wait online outside in front of people to get into the coffee shop because they won't let people in, so you could squeeze to kind of get your coffee. You know what I mean? The liquor stores can be open because that's essential.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the flower shop can be open, but like the restaurant can't be open. Like, you can't figure it out.
It's so interesting because I remember when this first started about 11 months ago, and they started throwing around that word essential. So you ask yourself, right? From a spiritual, context, what is essential? Like, is a supermarket worker essential? Is being a parent essential? Is a rabbi essential? What are the activities in society that we hold to be of utmost importance, essential? Government workers. It's interesting, right? So, I hope that we're able to eventually get out of this. I believe we will, right? You're optimistic. You're hopeful.
I'm extremely optimistic. I'm putting money down. In fact, I just invested in a travel company. You're the first person I'm telling this to.
Wow.
And the 7 other people on this call. Anyone else on this call that I know?
No.
I should know about this.
Travel. I do believe there's going to be a boom because.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy that I did that. Just letting you know. It's potentially crazy. Potentially not. It's
potentially not because. But I see it from your perspective is that there's a great opportunity, and when people are stuck in place for a year, they're going to want to go travel immediately as things open up.
Yeah, that's my theory. And but again, Jessica thought I was nuts, about it. You're investing in a travel company during a pandemic. I invested in it like 4 months ago. So anyways, I'll
keep us posted.
I'll shoot you the URL.
Yeah, definitely. So when are we going to see you in person over at MJE? We miss you, man.
It's a problem, man. I don't know. I have no office right now. Everyone's virtual. Mm-hmm. I have no reason to really come back, although I would like to come back to get my stuff, my wardrobe that is
where is that wardrobe?
Mike Adler has it in his house. Some of it's your stuff, half of it's yours. I left my pink shorts, the yellow shorts.
So you need to come back to get pink shorts? That's why you're coming to America?
No, I'm joking.
You'll be back in the summer, right? Just so everybody
online, we have tickets already. We bought tickets for all of us. We got ridiculous deals.
Great.
We're coming for 29 days or 24 days, maybe something like that in August.
In August. All right, great. So because
August 4th through August 29th, you can book me at MJE for one
Great.
of their Shabbases, although I highly doubt that Jessica will agree to that. So.
No, I'm sure she will. But regardless,
and when's the Israel trip? When's the MJE trip?
So we're going to Israel. It's the end of July. All the holidays are early this year. We're going, I think, July 31st to August 9th or 10th. But Ozzy, I just want people to know, because there's a lot of people who are probably going to watch this post-production once this is done. If they want to get in touch with you about jobs, if they want to find out about Aliyah, if they want to find out about life, being married with kids, whatever we discussed today about being a Boston fan, how can they find you?
a.cutter@aclion.com.
a.cutter@aclion.com. Okay.
That's right.
And they could also find you on Facebook.
Just Google Ozzy Cutter.
Yeah, and they can see all your great smoothie recipes, all the great places you're going on your mountain bike. They can see pictures of your family.
My romantic engagement to Jessica, re-engagement.
I saw that your kids were there. I saw you got down on one knee in a park.
Someone said to me, "Come on, man, you really just wanted to strangle her with that engagement ring balloon, didn't you?"
Speaking of being at,
that's pretty funny, right? It is funny line. I thought it was a very good line.
I mean, it was a pretty big balloon. I watched.
It was huge.
Listen, we were both there for each other at our engagements. So
I'll never forget, Ezra, when you pressed the button. You know what I'm talking about or not? You sent out the invite to your wedding. That was one of the greatest moments in history.
Okay, I think my wife's calling me now.
There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Yeah,
we all have our moments, and where you have to make a big decision.
Yeah,
and
if we can,
it was amazing. He will do anything to stop me from saying what I'm about to say.
Listen, what Ozzy's talking about is, I think, the way we started with Mark Wildes is that you can't overanalyze, because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So sometimes you just gotta get out there and do it, and push the button, press send, and jump into the water, and it will split.
But who actually pressed the button?
I think you actually, yeah.
I'm joking. I held your hand. I held your hand when you.
But I did walk down the aisle myself.
You did. Actually, you're the one that pressed it. You pressed it. It was really impressive.
Thank you. It's impressive to get married.
But I will say, once you press the button, that's it. Same with me. You were there with me when I proposed to Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, maybe you were the reason, the instigator. I'm the one that made the proposal. I said the words.
Do you know what's interesting?
That's another podcast.
By the way,
the proposal.
Yeah. By the way,
proposal. You could literally spend an entire podcast on the proposal.
Yeah, it was one of those epic proposals, Ozzy Cutter specials. But Ozzy, it's not called instigator. When I go up to Shemayim, they're not going to say, "Oh, Ezra, you're the instigator." They're going to say, "Ezra, you're the matchmaker." It's all context.
I hope so. Yes.
I know.
But this is what I'm saying. We talk shaloli shema bali shema. We use our whatever it is that we have, like, call it your strengths, your qualities, your mischievousness, whatever it is, like your interest in stirring the pot. Some people are good. I'm good at stirring the pot. You're good at stirring the pot.
Yeah, we like to see who's better at stirring the pot.
Exactly. You stirred a lot of pots for me to get down that aisle. So
yeah.
And you showed up. You came to the wedding for 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got on a plane just for 24 hours. That's it.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
That was incredible.
That's what I do for a brother. And listen, I don't want to keep. This is probably the longest podcast. They're going to have to cut it. But I did want to end with one thought, because the backdrop to our entire conversation today is about really our friendship, which has been so special over the past 20 years. It feels like a lifetime. It's only 20, and it should continue to grow and go from strength to strength. But I remember something that happened probably just a year or two ago at our 40th birthday. We took out a boat in the bottom of Manhattan. Me, you, Eddie, Omri, Mike, Arnon, and we went out to watch sunset right by the Statue of Liberty. And it was so interesting that, like, you had all these guys who hung out with each other, but we didn't actually know each other. We didn't find out, how we grew up, anything about our families. And I remember sitting there, and it was such a powerful moment where we started to open up, and, you shared with me about, family loss, and other people did as well. And we were just sitting there out in that calm water, connecting to one another. And it was just like we were out of the noise of Manhattan. And I cherish that moment. It was just so real and so authentic. And I remember you and I, just a few years back, we went to Beit Shemesh, and we went to each other's family's kever. And you're a lifer, Ozzy Cutter.
Thanks, buddy. I was at the cemetery, and I tried to find your mother's.
You tried.
I couldn't find it. It was too early in the morning to call you.
No worries. Listen, you're. I'm sure we'll have another opportunity where I'm in Israel and we'll go again. But I take you to the foxhole with me. You're one of those guys I can rely on. I can count on. You're someone which I think is the definitive special character trait of a relationship is you can cry with me and you can dance with me. And when you have a friend who's there for you in difficult times, and you have a friend who's there for you to uplift you in joyous times, to be with you, to dance and celebrate, you found a great friend. And that's someone who I feel about you. Like I can always hang with you. I can always be with you. You're always there to support, to comfort me. And I love you, man. I'm really happy we were able to do this.
Me too. Thanks for believing in me. And
it's the least I can do, man.
Such an incredible friend. I'm blessed.
You're the Italian. I'm the Spaniard.
That's right.
Listen,
kids love that story.
That's right. Thank you so much for all you.
Remember the ribbon story? But we have lots of stories. All right.
We're gonna come back. Right. What's it called? The Cutter Cast.
Cutter Cast sounds good.
It does sound good. But thanks for taking the time today. You're a rock star. Keep on making a great impact and inspiration in the Jewish community, and being the tech titan that you are. Thank you so much for spending time with us, with the community today on Facebook. And let's go from strength to strength, man. Let's see happier times with more blessing for everyone,
Amen.
Health and happiness.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Do you want to do a l'chaim?
I need more. I wish you could pour me some.
Here, l'chaim to you, Ozzy. L'chaim to everybody.
Thank you for joining, everybody.
We'll be in text touch.
All right. See you later, guys.
I'm going to show you one last picture. How about one last picture?
I would love it.
All right. I pulled up so many wonderful pictures of us. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll end with that.
Oh, I love that one. And by the way, I think every year we take another picture of us hugging wherever we are. That's our stance. We must have 10 of those at least.
We do. And there's a few
and the
others.
more oh, wow.
I pulled up
the more I hug you, the more we smile.
All right. So let's.
Now, you were able to Google that, like on Ozzy Cutter? Like, how do you find?
I just went through. On the iPhone, you just push a face, which I pushed your face.
Oh my God, that's so cool!
And then I got all of our.
I don't think I could do that on Android.
No, that's
an interesting iPhone feature. Okay, it's good to know.
Yeah, and now I hear my kids screaming. So, yeah, there's lots of pictures here.
Regards to Shane.
All right.
There he is.
Have a great day. Ozzy, I love you, man.
Love you too, man. Thanks for inviting me. Bye.
You're the best. Talk to you, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.